13 minutes and 30 seconds. Good morning. Today we are reading from the Shambhala The Sacred Path of the Warrior by Chogyam Trungpa. We are now reading chapter 3. If you've missed any of the previous chapters, you can find them in our original playlist called Shambhala The Sacred Path of the Warrior. And today, chapter 3, the genuine heart of sadness. Through the practice of sitting still and following your breath as it goes out and dissolves, you are connecting with your heart. By simply letting yourself be as you are, you develop genuine sympathy towards yourself. Imagine that you are sitting naked on the ground with your bare bottom touching the earth. Since you are not wearing a scarf or a hat, you are also exposed to heaven above. You are sandwiched between heaven and earth, a naked man or a woman sitting between heaven and earth. Earth is always earth. The earth will let anyone sit on it, and earth never gives way. It never lets you go. You don't drop off this earth and go flying through outer space. Likewise, sky is always sky. Heaven is always heaven above you. Whether it is snowing or raining or the sun is shining, whether it is daytime or nighttime, the sky is always there. In that sense, we know that heaven and earth are trustworthy. The logic of basic goodness is very similar. When we speak about basic goodness, we are not talking about having allegiance to good and rejecting the bad. Basic goodness is good because it is unconditional or fundamental. It is there already, in the same way that heaven and earth are there already. We don't reject our atmosphere. We don't reject the sun and the moon, the clouds and the sky. We accept them. We accept that the sky is blue. We accept the landscape and the sea. We accept highways and buildings and cities. Basic goodness is basic. That unconditional, it is not a for or against view, in the same way that sunlight is not a for or against. The natural law and order of this world is not for or against. Fundamentally, there is nothing that either threatens us or promotes our point of view. The four seasons occur free from anyone's demand or vote. Hope and fear cannot alter the seasons. There is day, there is night, there is darkness at night and light during the day, and no one has to turn a switch on and off. There is a natural law and order that allows us to survive, and that is basically good, in that it is there and it works and it is efficient. We often take for granted the basic law and order in the universe, but we should think twice. We should appreciate what we have. Without it, we would be in a total predicament. If we didn't have sunlight, we wouldn't have any vegetation. We wouldn't have any crops. And we couldn't cook a meal. So basic goodness is good because it is so basic, so fundamental. It is natural and it works. And therefore, it is good rather than being good as opposed to bad. The same principle applies to our makeup as human beings. We have passion, aggression, and ignorance. That is, we cultivate our friends and we ward off our enemies. And we are occasionally indifferent. Those tendencies are not regarded as shortcomings. They are part of the natural elegance and equipment of human beings. We are equipped with nails and teeth to defend ourselves against attack. We are equipped with a mouth and genitals to relate with others, and we are lucky enough to have complete digestive and respiratory systems so that we can process what we take in and flush it out. Human existence is a natural situation, and like the law and order of the world, it is workable and efficient. In fact, it is wonderful. It is ideal. Some people might say that the world is the work of a divine principle, But the Shambhala teachings are not concerned with divine origins. The point of warriorship is to work personally with our situation now, as it is, from the Shambhala point of view. When we say that human beings are basically good, we mean that they have every faculty that they need, so they don't have to fight with their world. Our being is good because it is not a fundamental source of aggression or complaint. We cannot complain that we have eyes, ears, a nose, a mouth. We cannot redesign our physiological system, and for that matter, we cannot redesign our state of mind. Basic goodness is what we have, what we are provided with. It is the natural situation that we have inherited from birth onwards. We should feel that it is wonderful to be in this world. How wonderful it is to see red and yellow, blue and green, purple and black. All of these colors are provided for us. We feel hot and cold. We taste sweet and sour. We have these sensations and we deserve them. They are good. So the first step in realizing basic goodness is to appreciate what we have. But then we should look further and more precisely at what we are, where we are, who we are, when we are, and how we are as human beings, so that we can take possession of our basic goodness. It is not really a possession, but nonetheless, we deserve it. Basic goodness is very closely connected to the idea of Buddhakara. In the Buddhist tradition, Buddhi, which means awake or wakeful, and Siddha, which means heart. Buddha Siddha is awakened heart. Such awakened heart comes from being willing to face your state of mind. That may seem like a great demand, but it is necessary. You should examine yourself and ask how many times you have tried to connect with your heart, fully and truly. How often have you turned away because you feared you might discover something terrible about yourself? How often have you been willing to look at your face in the mirror without being embarrassed? How many times have you tried to shield yourself by reading the newspaper, watching television, or just spacing out? That is the $64,000 question. How much have you connected with yourself at all in your whole life? The sitting practice of meditation, as we discussed in the last chapter, is the means to rediscover basic goodness. And beyond that, it is the means to awaken this genuine heart within yourself. When you sit in the posture of meditation, you are exactly the naked man or woman that we described earlier, sitting between heaven and earth. When you slouch, you are trying to hide your heart, trying to protect it by slumping over. But when you sit upright, but relaxed in the posture of meditation, your heart is naked. Your entire being is exposed to yourself, first of all, but to others as well. So through this practice of sitting still and following your breath as it goes out and dissolves, you are connecting with your heart. By simply letting yourself be as you are, you develop genuine sympathy toward yourself. When you awaken your heart in this way, you find to your surprise that your heart is empty. You find that you are looking into outer space. What are you? Who are you? Where is your heart? If you are really looking, you would find anything tangible and solid. You won't find anything tangible and solid. Of course, you might find something very solid if you have a grudge against someone, or if you have fallen possessively in love, but that is not an awakened heart. If you search for awakened heart, if you put your hand through your rib cage and you feel for it, there is nothing there except for tenderness. You feel sore and soft. If you open your eyes to the rest of the world, you feel tremendous sadness. This kind of sadness doesn't come from being mistreated. You don't feel sad because someone has insulted you or because you feel impoverished. Rather, this experience of sadness is unconditioned. It occurs because your heart is completely exposed. There is no skin or tissue covering it. It is pure, raw meat. Even if a tiny mosquito lands on it, you feel so touched. You experience Your experience is raw and tender and so personal. The genuine heart of sadness from feeling that your non existent heart is full. You would like to spill your heart's blood, give your heart to others. For the warrior, this experience of sad and tender heart is what gives birth to fearlessness. Conventionally, being fearless means that you are not afraid of that. If someone hits you, you will hit them back. However, we are not talking about the Street Fighter level of fearlessness. Real fearlessness is the product of tenderness. Real fearlessness is the product of tenderness. It comes from letting the world tickle your heart, your raw and beautiful heart. You are willing to open up without resistance or shyness and face the world. You are willing to share your heart with others. The end of chapter 3. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and find more chapters in our original playlist called Shambhala The Sacred Path of the Warrior.